Well, happy Saturday, folks. The real Captain Kirk here. It's the 24th of February here. We're live from One Bethlehem Plaza here. Downtown Bethlehem here. Again, a little unsettling here day yesterday here in a 12-story building. You never want to feel this loud collapse that shook the whole building here. They've been tearing down the parking garage next to our offices here, and things didn't go too well here, as you'll see here in a few seconds. Bulldozing the building, didn't expect the whole thing to come down at once. Send huge steel beams across the house next door. So, again, fortunately, no one was hurt. Again, but it was headline news here, and our video actually was headline news here last night. Don't forget here, again, in about 15 days, we're going to be springing forward here, so hard to believe in just a couple weeks. And in just 23 days, we'll actually be talking officially spring. Thought we'd talk again spring here briefly, again, our March outlook here. So these trends are how our big retail Fortune 500 clients look at the weather year on year. Again, so these are how the weather, temp, rain, snow looks compared to the year ago. Temperatures, again, about 4.5 warmer for the calendar month than last year. Warmest in 3 years, 8th warmest in 39 years, so a warmer month. If there's a cooler spot, it's going to be along the south and east coast, again, slightly cooler and more favorable than a year ago. 39-year snowfall trends show, again, 31% less than last year, 19th least in 39 years. So below average, or just a hair below average. But again, we do think there's a couple more systems in the offing there. Again, lighter systems, but 1 to 6 inch type events across the central U.S., even up the east coast here. So we don't think winter's over. It might be mid-March here, but we shall see. Wet and stormy and severe weather for sure. 52% wetter than last year, wettest in 26 years. 4th wettest in 39. Very, very concerned about a very active severe weather season here this year. So tornadoes are going to be starting to do their thing here in March, and we think they could be pretty severe for sure. One thing that's obvious here is that the El Nino is collapsing at warp speed here. Again, we're going clearly toward a La Nina cycle here. This El Nino was unusual in the sense that it was strong. It wasn't the strongest in history, but very strong, but it did not have the atmospheric response. There's a lot of indices that'll tell you if the El Nino is responding to the atmosphere. Even though the ocean was El Nino, we did not see a full atmospheric response by any means. We did get the wet weather here in the U.S., but certainly not some of the cold and snow that we might have expected with El Nino. And that's just because the Pacific overall was just very warm. It wasn't a typical El Nino, and the fact the Atlantic is near record warm. So these really warm waters will play a huge role as we get to the hurricane season here. Unfortunately, that looks to be extremely severe, again, and very concerned about South Florida to Texas, not so much North Florida this year. We look at how we can tell for sure here that we know this is a La Nina happening here. You can look at the subsurface. So this is just cross-section across the equatorial Pacific from Indonesia to Ecuador. Hawaii is kind of in the middle. You see all that very cold subsurface water temperatures there bubbling to the surface, where we had much above is now getting very quickly to be almost much below. So it will be a very fast evolving La Nina here, which will have huge implications to changing our weather pattern very quickly here in 2024. Looking at last week world summer here, weekending here today. Here in the U.S., about 2.1 warmer than last year, warmest in 7, 8th warmest in 39 years, drier than last year, driest in 18 years, 3rd driest in 39, and virtually no snow, number one least in 39 years. There was a favorable spot, kind of colder there down in the southeast, so maybe some lingering demand for winter seasonal items, but for on clearance. But again, a warm, dry typically benefits outdoor activities, construction, and indoor dining. So again, those type of things over seasonal merchandise. This week, again, patterns starting a little bit of a flip-flop here. I'm starting to see some evolution in the cycles. But again, still a warm week. 3.89 warmer than last year, warmest in 24 years, 2nd warmest in 39 years. Doesn't mean there's not going to be, there's a couple, it's a very fast pattern. So there's actually 2 very cold days in this mix, even for the Midwest. And here in the East, this weekend, actually, tomorrow morning could be about 10 degrees here at 360's headquarters. So 10 degrees and then near 60 middle of next week. So a very volatile up and down pattern. Snowfall 60% less than last year, least in 3 years, 5th least in 39 years, while rainfall is excessive, 47% wetter than last year, wettest in 27, 37, 3rd wettest in 39 years, with another big system traversing to the west coast, going as a snowstorm into the light to moderate snowstorm in the upper Midwest midweek, and then heavier rain in the eastern half of the country. We'll look at the 6-day snowfall, not much here today, a little light system going through Indiana. Ohio here today, and then we'll see the next big storm Monday starting to approach the west into the northern Rockies and then spilling out into the upper Midwest, Great Lakes. And then Thursday, again, just light snow shower activity in the northeast. So if you aggregate the 6-day trends here, about 52% of the country will get some snow here. So again, light, but again, half of what we had last year, least in 3, 6 least in 39. But again, even though the milder weather here, we're still seeing some snow. For snow-deprived Minneapolis, for sure, hasn't seen much snow at all this winter. Looking at next week again, the first full week of March here again, 4.6 warmer than last year, warmest in 24 years, third warmest in 39. So you see that move though, again, colder weather moving into the western half of the country, and that eventually may spill to the east by mid-March. So again, that's kind of the timing of the next potential snow event across the Ohio Valley Northeast. We shall see here mid-March. Total precip chart left here, 86% wetter than last year, wettest in 13 years, fourth wettest in 39 years. So again, very, very wet, stormy pattern. Again, got to get very concerned here about, we do think the tornado season will be the most in about 5 years, and maybe as most in 13 years. So a very active severe weather and flooding type season ahead. Polar vortex doing its thing here. It's about to collapse here in the spring. It typically falls apart completely, but when it does that, it actually can allow that cold to move. When it's very strong and symmetrical, as it has been here the past couple weeks, keeps the cold air bottled up there in Siberia and China, where it's been last week. But it looks like it's fallen apart here with some intrusions into Canada and potentially the U.S. So again, these are just, again, when it falls apart, you're not going to get an extremely cold outbreak, but again, enough cold air that you could get a snowstorm here in spring. So we aggregate these 2-week trends here, 25 Feb through 9 March again. Overall theme is, again, you see the cold's been moving from a couple weeks ago in northern Europe, had moved into then Russia, and then it's moved into China, and now moving into Alaska. So it's clearly moving. We'll see if that Alaska cold snap can get down into the U.S. By mid-month. Precip maps versus average left. And snowfall here, again, just because it's mild doesn't mean you won't have snow. So certainly some heavier snow potential out there, overdone here in the Midwest for sure. But again, models are hinting at a very stormy pattern here for North America. We will end here with, I don't know if you caught it here, but it made headline news here with a Meteor. Again, Weather Trends 360 camera west caught it. Again, fleeting moment here, but it was seen from all the way from North Carolina, Virginia, all the way up to Niagara Falls. So again, it was a short-lived, a few-second event here, but Weather Trends 360 camera seems to be capturing a lot of interesting activity here as of late. So with that, folks, we'll end with the beautiful sunrise here, sunset actually we had yesterday, again caught from WT360 WeatherCam West. And on that heavy note, have a great weekend, and we will talk to you this time next week.